All right, let's just jump right in. We're going to talk about this one manipulation tactic that is, well, it's so incredibly common. You probably bump into it every single day and don't even know it. But here's the thing. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. You're going to start spotting it everywhere.
I want you to just think for a second. Think about the last political argument you saw online. And I don't mean a thoughtful back and forth disagreement. No, I mean the kind that just makes your blood boil. You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? That comment section, that social media feed.
What's the first thing you see? It's always the most extreme protester, right? The one screaming into a camera. Or maybe it's that one completely unhinged tweet, screenshotted and shared a million times. These things aren't just floating around randomly. They're put in front of you for a reason, to get a rise out of you. So what if I told you that wasn't an accident? What if the whole point of showing you that stuff wasn't to actually convince you of anything? What if the goal was much simpler and a lot more dishonest? What if it's designed to make you replace an entire group of people with their absolute worst, most ridiculous example? What if it's all just a trick? Well, spoiler alert, it is a trick. It's a classic propaganda technique, and its only job is to blow up a real conversation before it can even start. See, instead of dealing with what someone actually believes, you just swap out their real argument for a cartoon version of it, a really bad one. That way, you get to feel like you've won without ever having to engage in a real debate. And this trick, this dishonest tactic, it has a name. It's called the straw man fallacy. And today, we're going to tear it apart so you can see exactly how it works. So what is it officially? The straw man fallacy is pretty simple. It's when you take someone's actual argument, you distort it, you exaggerate it, you turn it into something they never actually said, and then you attack that distorted version. It's like building a scarecrow, a man of straw, and then punching it over and declaring you've won a fight. The whole setup is almost insultingly simple when you break it down. It happens in 4 steps. Step 1, person 1 makes a point, a real argument. Step 2, person 2 comes along and restates that point, but wrong, in a totally twisted way. Step 3, person 2 that attacks their own twisted version. And then step 4, the grand finale, they declare that the original claim is false. See what happened? The real argument was never even part of the conversation. It's a total bait and switch. Okay, so you're probably thinking, if this is such a simple, obvious trick, why does it work on us so often? The answer is, it's not trying to fool your logical brain, not at all. It's a direct attack on your emotions. It's designed to hijack your feelings and use your own brain shortcuts against you. There are a couple of big reasons why it's so effective. First, our brains are just wired this way. Extreme things are memorable. That crazy tweet, that shouting protester, that stuff sticks in your head way more than a calm, reasonable statement. But here's the real kicker: emotion. Emotion is a shortcut that completely bypasses critical thinking. The second you get angry or outraged, your logical brain just kind of switches off. And that is the core of the whole thing. The very moment you feel that surge of anger or fear or disgust, your brain stops asking the important questions. Questions like, wait, is this what most people on that side really think? Or is this even a fair representation? The goal is no longer to persuade you of anything. The goal is to make you see the other side as less than human. All right, enough with the theory. Let's look at a couple of real-world examples. Once you see it in action, it becomes so much clearer. Okay, here's a classic one you've probably heard a variation of. Someone's original position is, hey, I'm advocating for a policy that would reduce the amount of weapons we sell to Israel. Pretty specific, right? But then the straw man version comes back. So my opponent wants to stop fighting terrorism by completely disarming Israel. Whoa, see the jump? A specific policy idea just got twisted into an extreme, reckless position that's super easy to attack. And this isn't just about big political debates. It happens all the time. Imagine this. Someone says, I think we should give a few extra points to students who completed this really difficult homework. A reasonable suggestion, right? But the straw man response is, so what? We should just give out easy A's to everyone for no reason? See? They took a small, specific request and blew it up into this ridiculous caricature. Now the original idea is toast. All right, so now you know how to spot it. But what do you do when someone uses it on you? Well, the good news is you're not helpless. You don't have to play their game. Here are 3 solid ways to respond. Okay, option 1, and this is usually your best bet. Just point it out. Calmly say, hey, that's a misrepresentation of my argument. What I actually said was, and then restate your real position. This puts the ball back in their court. Option 2, just ignore it. Don't even engage with their fake argument. Just keep advocating for your original, stronger point. You control the conversation that way. And then there's option 3. This one's a little advanced, so be careful. You can actually accept their ridiculous version and then prove why even that position is defensible. It's a bold move, but if you can pull it off, it can totally shut them down.
So why does any of this really matter? I mean, it's just arguments online, right? Well, no, this goes way deeper. When this tactic becomes common, it actually damages our ability to talk to each other at all. It makes solving real problems basically impossible. Because here's the real ugly truth. The goal of a straw man argument is not to convince anyone. It's to polarize. It's to make your side feel morally superior, to get you fired up and angry, and to make the other side look like monsters. It's a tool to destroy any chance of finding common ground. And when it works, real debate is dead. You're no longer talking to an actual human being with different ideas. You're fighting a caricature, a cartoon villain that was custom built for you to despise. It turns conversation into all-out tribal war. So from now on, when you see it, that clip, that tweet, that quote taken completely out of context, and it's being used to represent millions of people, I want you to just pause. And instead of getting angry, ask yourself a very simple question. Not, is this true, or who is worse? Ask yourself this: who benefits from me believing this is true? Because answering that question, well, that's how you start to break the spell.